Really important to remember as parents. And, I'm a parent of a college athlete, or he just graduated as well. Um, and I coached him for a while. And one thing we have to remember is the person is greater than the player. Think about an equation, like greater than, less than.
Yeah.
The person is greater than the player. So focus on the person first and try to make sure that their performance does not determine their self-worth in your family. Because think about this, Andy, and you probably exactly where I'm going with this is, let's say dad is not at a game and he's out of town on business or whatever, and game's over and kid calls his parents and lets them know, wants to talk to him after the game. What's the first question the parents ask?
How many goals you score?
Yeah. Did you win? How many goals did you score? Right? So what kind of message are we sending to our kids if that's the first thing out of our mouth? Right? Did you win, or how'd you do? Whatever, right? Yeah. That immediately tells that child, all I care about is your performance, is the outcome. Instead of, hey, how you doing? Yeah. How was the flight? How was the travel? How you feeling? Hey, how did the game go? How'd you play tonight? But not so much on the outcome. Outcomes are important, don't get me wrong. And again, I'm not one of those participation trophy guys. I'm all about there's a winner and a loser and all that kind of stuff. But from a parent-child relationship, think about the person first, then the player. All right. And I think you start to send that message the right way, that I care more about you, not so much of the outcome of the game. Certainly important.
Well, and then you're going right back, like when we talk about controlling the controllables. Yeah. A parent can't control that kind of stuff anyways, right? So that's where the stress and anxiety comes from the parent side, right? Yeah. And coaches, like, you can only do so much. You can get them to the rink, you could him or her to the rink, you can feed them, you can support them, but after that, the child or the player's got to play.
Right.
So that's a controllable that parents can control. And man, I'm telling you, I see this like a lot. Parents stressing out, but that car ride home. Oh. So I can't imagine with some people.
There's actually been research on this, Andy, that when they interview kids anonymously, one of the things they hate the most about playing sports is the car ride home with their family. It's one of the top things they talk about in terms of negatives in organized sports is the car ride home. So earlier I mentioned a couple questions about how to evaluate. Here's questions that parents should be asking after they find out their kid's okay and they had a great time and they love them and all that. Hey, what went well today and why? Great question. What are you proud of yourself for today? And why did that thing happen? Because if you know why, you can do it again. And then, hey, what do you need to do better, or what could you have done better? And how are you going to fix it? And can I help you in any way? Or can I get you the help you need? Notice then you're not focused on mistakes, outcomes, you're focused on the process. And then after those couple questions, hey, let's go have some dinner. Glad to see you. What are we doing later? Game's over, right? We're not going to live this game over and over all night long, because that's how kids get burned out.
Yeah, I had a dad like that. It was terrible. It was like, because I was a talented kid, sit down and eat, and it was just like, I'd be like, oh my God, here's 3 hours that we're gonna have to talk about how great I am and how this guy sucks, and it was terrible. It's not fun.
That's another thing, Andy. As parents, please don't talk about other kids with your own kid or the coaches. I mean, it's like you undermine all the power there. Just like when, like you mentioned earlier, I work in education. And when I hear parents talk about teachers in front of their kids, now, obviously there's exceptions.
Yep.
But on a daily basis, if you're undermining the authority of your coaches and your teachers and people in authority positions, then you're teaching your kids to never respect authority. I have police officer friends, and they'll say, Doc, I pull people over, and you would not believe the lip service I get in these days, from people in the car. And guess who's sitting in the back seat?
Yeah.
Kids.
Yeah.
They're watching this.
Yeah.
So why should they respect authority? Of all people, a guy with a gun on his hip, and you're disrespecting him in front of your kid, right?
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, you mentioned another thing that stuck out to me when you mentioned, like, are the parents more into it than the kids? And one of the things I do with my clients is we go over, what do you love? Or first of all, why do you play? And what do you love about the game? because I want to make sure they understand why they do what they do and what they actually love about it, because there's going to be tough days. There's going to be those days where you say, I have to go to practice. Well, you don't have to do anything. You get to do this. It's a privilege. So make sure you understand that and think about that from time to time. So it's a good conversation even to have with your own kids or as a coach to your players. Like, why are you here? You know, what are your goals? Why are you doing this? And then what do you love about hockey? And I've got some really great answers. Like, I love the sound of the Zamboni when it takes the ice. I love the smell of my home arena. I love the sound the puck makes when it hits the stick, you know, or the blades cutting through the ice. You know, certain things that just give you chills when you think about it, like you'll miss that if you stop playing.